Hey guys, so we're back in my car this time because this is something that I'm gonna do on my own time, by myself, without Jason, which is okay, um, because I feel like this is something I should have done by myself this whole time, and I just haven't done it by myself. Nor how busted up I look right now. This is just how I'm starting it off. And I'm gonna start it off with a journal that I wrote on how people are only temporary because that's the topic that I want to talk about today, and everything happens for a reason. So, I'm going to go through a journal entry that I wrote the other day, which starts off as: some people arrive in your life for extended periods of time, give you the space you need, and are there for you through your hardships, but it doesn't mean that they're meant to be in your life forever. All my life I thought maybe if I suppressed my emotions, it would make the connections last. If I had just diminished the warning signs of a broken heart, that I would be able to hold on to the connection longer, although relations without boundaries of self-respect can not only kill your mind, but your soul. It rewires your brain to think that insults are not meant, but in reality there's an in-depth clarity that comes from insults face, and they're not putting them onto you to heal the parts of you that they know are still broken. They're actually projecting versions of your past self to try to slow you down or leave you where they are internally because they cannot accept the fact that you're moving forward for better things, while they repeat the same destructive patterns they're comfortable with. And the difference between then and now is that I'm pushing myself to the uncomfortable. So, what's uncomfortable for me is actually speaking on this, and I didn't want to speak on this, but I am because I have a lot of things built up and a lot of things that I want to say, and I'm not exposing anyone. I never wanted to expose anyone. I just wanted to talk about my emotions because I know that out there's someone that can actually relate to what I'm going through. And it's true though. A lot of people come into your life and they don't they don't stay. And there's a reason why they don't stay. One, you don't align with them anymore. Or two, you finally wake up to who the heck you are. And you realize that what they're doing is actually trying to tear you down, not build you up. And there is a good part of some friendships where they push you to be the best version of yourself, but when they're constantly looking at negative things and they're constantly trying to turn you to the ways that you left in the past, um, that's when you really have to reevaluate. Realistically, it only takes about 5 minutes to know if someone changed or if someone didn't change. And I truly believe that. I saw a video saying that today, and I really do believe that. Um, because I've tried to quit a lot of things, and I have quit a lot of things, and I come into contact with friends, with family who try to do the same thing, who haven't been successful in it, and that's okay. Quitting things takes time, and sometimes people are just not ready to do it, and some people don't want to realistically, and they'll continue to tell you that they will when they have the internal belief that they're going to stick to this for the rest of their life. And one of the big issues I had was I was best friends with someone who continued to smoke. And I've quit smoking for a while now, although being friends with this specific person made me want to fall back into that. And I don't want that for myself. I don't want to fall back into those patterns. So I did have to cut it off. And it's not only that, there's a lot of reasons that I'm not going to get into because it's not my place to sit here and bash anybody, and I don't want to do that. Even though it might have happened to me, I don't want to bash anyone online because that's just not who I am anymore. I don't want to get revenge on anyone. I just want to show people that there is a brighter side. Peer pressure still exists. It actually gets worse as you get older because sometimes that's all people really care about is getting high, getting drunk with your friends. And I know that I've talked about this before on different podcast episodes, or I've talked about it on my TikTok numerous times, but I genuinely don't see that as fun anymore. And people could look at me and be like, Kaycee, well, you're only 21 years old. Like, you could still go out, you could still drink, you could still have fun. It's not fun to me because, one, why would I want to not really remember the night? Why would I want to go out and destroy my body that was given to me by my God? And I don't see it as fun. It could be fun if that's what you're into, but personally, I think fun is going out for walks, being outside, reading, journaling. I like to do this in my free time. Sometimes I've been slacking on that as well, but that's why we're getting back into the podcast and doing one on my own because I've really been lacking in a lot of areas in my life, and I find myself lacking joy. And I know that that's on me that I'm lacking joy. I don't want anyone else to bring me joy because I know that it has to come from within first. So that's why I really tend to isolate myself. And I don't want to isolate myself. I know that that's not what I'm meant to do, but it's what I do when I feel certain ways because I don't want my mood to affect anyone else. And I know that it's okay to reach out for help. I guess this is why I'm doing this. Not that I'm reaching out for help, but I'm just like putting my feelings out there for the world to see because, I portray such a positive outlook on all of my socials, and I really do try to practice that all the time. But as a normal human being, I struggle day in and day out to keep myself positive sometimes, and that's why I need to keep myself accountable with these things. So one good thing about this though is I know that this specific moment in my journey is temporary. I know that the resistance is only showing up, and the doubt and all of the stuff that keeps coming at me is only coming at me because I'm on the right track. Which is why I'm continuing through my journey by myself. I've said this like 5 times already, but I genuinely mean it. Like, I know that everything happens for a reason. I know that I had to go through certain things, certain betrayals. I know that I had to mess up sometimes because I'm not a perfect person. I've dealt with things in ways that I probably shouldn't have dealt with them in the past, and do I have regret for that? Yes, but I don't hold it on myself because I know that I have to forgive myself. Because if I can't forgive myself, I can't forgive anyone else. And I can wholeheartedly sit here and say that I do forgive everyone because I have forgiven myself for every wrongdoing that I've done. Because if I don't do that, how am I supposed to grow? How am I supposed to grow if I sit here and bash myself every single day for the things that I've done? And I'm not saying that I've done horrible things my whole life. But I've done some things that I'm not proud of, and everyone does, because it's all a part of learning. Life is an experience that you learn from day in and day out. That's why street smarts are a thing. And I gotta admit, I have a lot of those. I have a lot of those from so many different experiences and so many different people that I've met over the years. And that's okay, because it's shaped me into the person that I am today. And I personally love who I am today, because I've gained so much strength, so much wisdom that I never thought that I would have at such a young age. And it's crazy to think about, because not a lot of people see it from a certain perspective in this way, because they're so used to like living their everyday life, or like they're not really looking in depth at their situations. They're kind of just like, oh, this happened and I'm gonna like deal with this for so many years and I'm probably never gonna forget it. Well, you're not supposed to forget the things that happen to you, but you're not supposed to let them weigh you down, which is why you have to constantly be positive about your outlook on life. You have to be optimistic, because if you're not optimistic about anything, how are you supposed to get anywhere? That's how I see it, I guess. Because I've been an optimist for a lot of my life. Not a lot of my life, but the last year I've been pretty optimistic about how my life is going to play out. And it has changed a lot. It's also made me lose some things, but I'm not upset over losing things, because I know that nothing in life is promised. You know, the only thing in life that's promised is death and taxes. And I've said this to multiple different people, but it's genuinely the truth. So I don't really hold on to any outcome. And I kind of just let my life flow as it is, which might not be how normal people go about their life, but that's how I've been going about my life. I don't know. I've also like done a little bit of manifestation that works. Um, because what you speak is what your life looks like. So you have to constantly speak positive. You have to speak love. You have to speak life into you, into your life, into your surroundings, and your life will shift. But obviously, that takes time. And in this past year, I've learned that time is my best friend. I'm coming up to the year mark where my like engagement broke off. It's not something that I usually like to talk about, but I do want to talk about it, because that's another situation that was temporary for me, and it's a situation that I thought was going to genuinely break me for the rest of my life. I didn't think I was going to open up to love or anything. I didn't think I was going to want a relationship. I didn't think I was really going to want marriage again. Do I still want that for my life? Of course. Probably not as quick, but I am open to love. I have so much love inside me that I know that I have to give it out to not only myself, but to the people around me. And I do each and every single day. I say that I appreciate people every single day, even if they might not feel like they need to be appreciated. Is it bad to say sometimes the bare minimum is appreciated by me? Probably. Should I maybe expect more? Yeah. But I've learned through life that you can't expect things from anybody because you have to expect the most from yourself and the least from everyone else. Because your boundaries and your love and your care for yourself are what means the most. It's not about how somebody is making you feel. I mean, obviously, like if someone's making you feel happy, that's great, that's amazing. But I want to be able to feel that within myself. And slowly over time, I am feeling that. I am feeling that. Um, it has taken some time and a lot of inner work in understanding my emotions and my demons, um, which I'm not really going to get into, but I don't really know. Like, there's obviously some things that still trigger me. I actually got triggered like the other day, and I really didn't think that this trigger would come up, but I know that relationships trigger you. In certain areas, they actually trigger all of your wounds, and I really didn't think that I was prepared for that, but through the strength that I've been given, which isn't my own, um, my strength is God's strength, and I know that some people don't believe in God. Um, I do. I'm not gonna sit here and um, talk about God the whole time because this is like about my feelings, but that doesn't go to say that you have to be spiritual to get by either, because a lot of people aren't spiritual, they still get by and they still live wonderful lives. I just feel like my life has flipped and did a complete 180 from where I was when I started reading the Bible, when I started looking into scripture, when I started praying, when I started trying to have a conversation with God, which I've been kind of struggling with, but I know that there's ways that I can do it, and I've been trying to figure that out because I do want to have a relationship with Him. That's not really what this is about. This is about everything happens for a reason, and people are only temporary. So, the way that life plays out is all a part of a plan that was already created for you. You just have to simply follow it, and it's not meant to be a straight line. I feel like I've definitely said this before, but I want to kind of talk about it a little more because we all think that, we're just going to get to that finish line and we're going to get everything that we ever asked for, everything we ever prayed for. And that's just not the reality. You have to put in so much inner work in the background. And that goes for quite literally everything. Like, I coach kids, I coach soccer every single summer, and the kids are always like, "Oh, we're never gonna win a single game." And first of all, I hate the negativity, but second of all, the reason why we're not gonna win a single game is from the attitude and the way that they go about things in practice. Now, I can't make anyone do anything. Obviously, they're going to do what they want because they're teenagers. And I'm just not going to sit here and yell at a bunch of people because they don't want to put in the work. The work has to be put in. And if you don't sweat, if you don't bleed through your battles, you're never going to have success in the war. And I don't know if anyone's really going to get that. I feel like that makes no sense, but it's true. You have to bleed in private to be able to thrive in public. it takes a lot of work to do the things. To do the things? It takes a lot of work to get to a certain place in your mental. And I didn't think that I would be in this certain place right now, but I am, and I'm very grateful for where I am right now. I think this is probably one of the best places I've been mentally. Um, Obviously, still struggling a little bit, so maybe not the best place I've been mentally. I feel like the best place I've been mentally was probably before my first relationship. Yeah, I I'm really trying to get back to that person, and I've been succeeding in that area because actually it's so weird because we want to be grown ups so bad, but as soon as we become grown ups, we want to be that kid again. The kid that laughs at everything, the kid that enjoys their life, that plays, that just, I don't even know. We want to be that kid version of ourselves again because that's what felt the best. And growing up is such a hard battle that I know it might get worse, but it might also get better. So I have to be optimistic. But I also can't just expect the best. I can't expect anything because, like I said earlier, nothing is promised in this life. Obviously, speak positively and keep a journal full of things saying, I have this, I have that. By this time, I'm going to have this. You know, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But the majority of the time, it works if you truly believe it to be true, which is something that I really got to get back into because I haven't been doing that recently, and I feel like it's really going to help me. But I did get a new car. I got a new car. I'm financially stable. I have people in my life that support me, that love me, and that's all I can really ask for. I have a family that loves me. I love my family very much, and I'm just glad to be alive every single day because I know that that can be taken away at any moment. And I really gotta live it out. I gotta live it out more than I have been, which is why this is so important, why it's so important to say all of these things, why it's important to heal certain aspects of myself, because if I don't heal myself, I'm going to bring it into relationships, I'm going to bring it into environments that they aren't meant to be in, and I can be taken out of those environments. And I don't want that. I want to be able to experience life to the fullest. And I know I will with time. It just takes a lot of time. I didn't realize healing would take so long. Um and I've been doing a very, very good job. Don't get me wrong, because I have been healing things faster than most people would heal them, which is so crazy to say. Um because like I said, I'm coming up to the year mark of where my ex-fiance decided that he didn't want to marry me anymore. And I've accepted that. I really have accepted that. And I'm not mad. I'm not sad. I'm glad that I am where I am today. And I just hope the best for not only him, but honestly, anyone. Um, Anyone that has left my life. Because I know that I haven't dealt with things, like I said, in the best ways. Um, I have gone a little crazy. I've gone a little crazy, and I'm really not like that anymore. I really do seek outdoors. I'm literally sitting in a random place in my car to record this because nature is where I feel safest right now, which is not something most people would say, honestly, but it's true. Nature really grounds me. I also think that that's because it's part of God's creation, and God's creation, being around it really does help you understand the value of everything. Because, I've seen, even recently, like, I've gone on my phone on Facebook and people are like bashing where we live and stuff. Um, I know that living in a rural community isn't exactly the greatest environment for some people, but we really do take a lot of things for granted. We take the views for granted. We take the people for granted. Where I live, the people here are probably the nicest that I've ever seen in my life. And you really don't see that in the city. Um, which is sad, honestly, because I feel like people really do need to be nicer. But I know that a lot of people in life right now are miserable. And I just hope that no matter what, they can figure out whatever they need to figure out. Because I'm figuring out things as I go, so why can't you? Why can't you sit down and figure things out for yourself as well? You know? It's all supposed to be about growth. And without growth, we cannot prosper in this life. So, I'm just striving for growth. I'm striving for better. I get up and I go for a walk every single day. I do work out. Some days I slack, some days I don't. That's me taking accountability, but it's the truth. And yeah, but I do read my Bible every single day. And I make sure that I ground myself, I meditate, I try to do what I can for myself to make myself feel joy. And this whole journey is about me trying to genuinely find happiness. I'm not saying that I'm not happy. Because there are days that I'm happy, there are days that I'm sad, and that's simply human. And I'm not depressed either. Because if I was depressed, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't still have a smile on my face. I wouldn't have expression. Some days I'm down more than others. But the bright side of that is the bad days are minimal compared to the good days. So, always remember that good days come around more than your bad. And the bad days really aren't so bad. The bad days actually shape you into who you're meant to be. And, well, actually, who you already are, but, sometimes we forget who we are. And it's important to remember who we actually are, what we're capable of, the things we can achieve. Because, the reality behind anything is we can achieve things no matter what if we have belief. You have to have belief in yourself for things to work out. Because if you don't believe in yourself, it's probably never going to work out. Which is a harsh reality, but it's the truth. If I didn't believe in myself, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. And yeah, maybe I'm a little hesitant. Maybe I'm a little scrambling on my words, but that's just because I haven't done a video like this in a long time. I really haven't. And I do have to sit down and do these more often. Which is something that I'm going to try and do each and every single week and actually have like a topic. But for now, this was just to test the waters, honestly, to see if I could still do this, to see if I could actually have something to talk about. And I found out that I could ramble on for like a half hour, which is crazy to me, that I could just sit here and talk about random things and just let my mind go crazy. So I might honestly do that. I will have a script sometimes, but sometimes I like to just ramble. And maybe I'll complain about random things. Not complain, because I really don't like to complain. Anyways, just be grateful for every single moment you get to experience. Be grateful for every single feeling that you get to experience. Be grateful that you have two legs to walk on, because some people can't walk. Some people don't have the same privileges that you do. Some people don't have the drive that you do. Some people don't have the optimism. And I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for the people that have allowed me to get to this point in my life. And I'm so grateful for each and everything, especially God. But anyway, enough about that. But I'm genuinely serious about that. Just be careful out there. There's a lot of things out there that aren't really meant for you, and you really gotta recognize that early on. Early on. This isn't just for you, this is for me. This is for anyone who's listening, who relates to this in any sort of way. Make sure that you recognize things early on, because you don't want to continue to hurt yourself. You want to grow from these experiences, and you want to deal with them in proper ways, in adult ways, not in childish ways. You want to actually live out your life for your purpose. And, sometimes, well, not sometimes, every time I stray away from things like this, I get exhausted. The reason why I'm exhausted is because I'm not actually doing the things that are meant for my purpose. Well, I am doing the things meant for my purpose. I'm caring for myself. I'm making sure that I do the things to make me love myself. But I am running away from the social media. And I shouldn't be running away from the social media. Social media isn't meant to be temporary for me. And I thought for a little while that it was supposed to be temporary, but I know now that it's not. Because I feel in my soul that there are a lot of people that need to hear the things that I need to say, who need to get inspired by the things that I have to say, and that's why I really want to keep this up. Not just for that, but also for myself, because when I do social media, I do feel a sense of joy, because even if there's only a certain number of people that see it, a certain amount of people that like what I put out, I I'm touching those certain amount of people in the right ways, if that makes sense. I want to make an impact that lasts. I want to make an impact that's good, with good intentions. I don't want to make an impact that's going to lead anyone down the wrong path, which is why I'm being very careful with myself and my journey, why I'm being so careful with myself and what I put out, because what you put out is what you receive, and I truly, truly, truly believe that. Which is why I've been putting out so much positive, and I've been receiving positive. I love that, which is genuinely proof that positivity brings in positivity, and negativity brings in negativity, because I have experienced the negative side of things as well, and that's okay. That was just a clap back at me for not being as positive as I could have been. But as soon as you get a negative thought, make sure that you alchemize that. It's very, very important to do that. you'll see a lot of changes, and you might not know what alchemizing means. Alchemizing basically just means taking your negative thoughts and shifting them to a positive. So, like, what's an example that I could use for this? I really don't like the body that I'm in right now. You could be like, I might not like the body that I'm in right now, but I also have the power to change that. Or, yeah, this might not look the way that I want it to look, but I love it regardless because it's me. That's actually crazy. Maybe that's not as powerful as it could be, but that's just something. You could be like, you could drop something on the floor and be like, man, this really sucks. Like, this is the worst thing ever. But you could also look at it from this perspective of, you know what, that's okay. I needed to clean my floor anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to shift your perspective. We just don't really try. And I do think we need to try more. I think we need to be kinder with ourselves, because the kinder we can be with ourselves, the kinder we can be with our surroundings. And with where we are in the world right now, it's very important to be kind to people, I believe. I believe that being kind, obviously, being kind is a choice. Being a good person in this life is a choice. And it's a strength that not a lot of people want to hold. And just know that if you are a person that continues to be kind, continues to be generous, and continues to shy away from worldly things, and just keep doing you and being kind regardless, you're so strong. You're so strong. And it doesn't make you weak at all, because it's so easy to be an asshole, but it's so hard to be a nice person sometimes. And for some people, it comes naturally. And slowly but surely, well, not slowly but surely, but I have my moments, of course, where I do slip up, but I genuinely, like, try to go about everything in a kind way. Because I know that that's gonna get me so far. Doesn't make me weak. It's the parts of me that survived all of the things that tried to break me. And for that, I'm grateful to still have it. I'm grateful for a lot of things in my life, and I know I've already expressed gratitude, but gratitude is something that's also very important. Now I'm just rambling on about so many different things, but for real, I do want to do this every single week. I do want to come on here with a schedule, and I do want to post like every Thursday. I do want to post every Thursday because that would be nice, actually. Thursday would be great. So that's what I'm going to plan for every Thursday. Stay tuned for Thursdays. I don't know how many times I've said Thursday in the last minute, but genuinely, I will be uploading things. I will be coming back to social media because that's what brings me joy. Being an idiot. Not an idiot, but being cringe in my own way. Some people may find it cringe. I personally don't like the word cringe. Have I used it? Yes. But I think if you look at it from a different perspective, things aren't really cringe. They're people trying to express themselves in certain ways that maybe you don't understand, but for them, it makes total sense. And to them, it might make them laugh to the point where they're almost peeing their pants. And I say this because I've seen things from years ago that I posted in my privates, and a lot of people might have thought it was cringe, but I thought it was the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life. And if that makes me weird, that makes me weird. But I'd rather be weird than ordinary, because ordinary or normal isn't where you want to be. You want to actually stick out and be someone. Be someone. Like, you don't want to look like someone else. You don't want to be someone else. You want to be yourself. And that should be everyone's goal. I see so many people trying to be other people. And I say I don't like the word cringe, but that actually does make me cringe. Because you're losing so much of yourself trying to be somebody else. And I hope you realize that someday. I hope you realize that you can be yourself. That you don't have to act like someone else. That you don't have to dress like someone else. Because the purpose of being in your body is to embody the things that you love, the things that you care for, the things that make you you. Not to follow around someone else like someone's pet and just do whatever they say or be whatever they say. Because I've had friends like that before, and that's why I cut off a lot of people. Anyways, I've just been rambling on for so long. So I do apologize if you made it this far. God bless you. Bless you so much, because I don't know how some people can sit through me talking like this for a long time. I mean, I can, to be honest, because when I look back at this, it actually does make sense. But I'm gonna be so honest, I've just been like going off the top of my head. I don't know if anyone can realize this, but you can probably realize. But yeah, genuinely, if you made it here, bless you, and I love you so much. Remember that. Always remember that you're so deeply loved, and you're never alone. You're truly never alone. There's always people out there who care about you, and if there's no one that cares about you out there, I care about you. So remember that, and just keep going, because, you know, I say this all the time. It's okay to not be okay, because it truly is. If you're not okay right now, it will get better. And it might feel like it's not going to get better, but it truly does. Because a year ago, I didn't think I was going to get better. A year ago, I thought I was going to be in the grave. And here I am, sitting here talking to you as if nothing really happened, which is so crazy. But yeah, I'm so glad that I was able to get through this. And peace and love. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Not really sure what else to say. It's alright. All I really gotta muster up. But yeah. Stay tuned for next Thursday.